I'm getting ready to install this pop-up. Now see, I cut the end of it off. Remember the other tab was on there? And I used some cutters. These are my electrical cutters. And I just scored it a little bit deeper. And then I just used my pliers. And I grabbed that and bent it off. And then I went back and I just cut the edges off. You know, right here. Snip. Snip. Now, and then I tried to fit it in there, and it wasn't going down there any further than that. And before you get all anxious about it, these fins on here, I had to trim off the width of this way and the width of this way. You don't have to trim every single one off. But I just used my cutters and I snipped it off just very carefully, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, no more than an eighth. Snip, 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 snip. And see, I cut off that edge there and that edge. And then I just check this to fit and see if it goes down, and it's going down. Okay? But now I've got to undo the ball underneath there. And if you want to know exactly, I'm not going to show you everything on this video because I've got a whole playlist, and I'm sure if you've watched my channel before, you know how to install this. Okay? If you don't, go to my main channel page, and I've got all kinds of stuff about sinks and how to clear out a sink clog and working with the trap and all that kind of stuff. Scroll down to the playlist and you'll find it. Now you see that's the ball and socket. The ball is inside there, so you have to undo this thread, and I'm checking this out and it's dripping ever so little. And every once in a while, if you want, you can go and check your sinks out. See, I can see that it's right there, and usually that doesn't leak unless you run the water for a few minutes. Okay, so I'm going to unscrew this and pull that out, and then I can pull it out and then fish it down there, you know, pop up from below, and fish the angle in the right place, and then push that back in there. Okay, you can do it. You crack me up. You still want me to show you how to do this, don't you? This, I just loosened it up with a pair of pliers. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So as you're looking at it, you want to turn to the left. Loosen that up a little bit, and then unscrew that. And then that pops out of there. See, that's that plunger rod. Now I can do everything from up above. But before I do that, let me show you. I'm going to pull this out all the way, okay? And to do that, remember there's this little goodie here. You got to pinch it and slide it off. And then this can come off. See that? That's how you put that back on. See, when you're ready to put it back on, you slide that on. You put this on there. You can adjust it however you want because this has holes in it. And then you can pinch it and slide it on there, see? Okay, but I'm going to pull that off because I'm going to show you this real quick from up above. Now this is what I wanted to show you. This is just a plastic nut. It's got very fine threads on it, so when you screw it back on, make sure you don't cross thread it, because you could cross thread it, and as you're tightening it, you think, okay, it'll go, and then this starts leaking because you've cross threaded that. As you're screwing it back on, make sure you can do it finger tight. Okay, but here's another thing I wanted to show you. On some of these, there's a little O-ring that fits on here, and sometimes those go bad. Okay, then you can put a new O-ring in there, but this particular one doesn't have an O-ring, and I don't think it ever did. It just had some white stuff here, and it was probably some plumber's tape, some Teflon tape. Okay, so I'm going to put some new Teflon tape on there before I put that back on. You can take this and you can you can wipe that and stuff. Seems as though we're going the full Monty on getting that back together. I might as well do it right. I'm going to take some Teflon tape and put it on here. You remember how to put that on? Put it on in this direction, so as it comes off, when you're screwing it back on, it's tightening on the threads as you're screwing it on. You don't want to put the Teflon tape going the opposite direction. Okay, look at it and think about it. So when you pull it off, the last bit has to be going that way. See, that way, and then as you're tightening it, it's always going to be like you're tightening it right on there. Okay, don't forget. Let's see if I can do this so you can see what I'm doing. This tape is very thin. Okay, you want to just try to be careful as you're putting it on. So you got to kind of hold it with your fingers a little bit until you get it started. Okay. Now you can kind of pull it tighter a little bit, and it will get just a little bit thinner, so you don't have to get too much overhang on there. You know what I mean? And these are very fine threads. I don't want to put too much of this on because I might have a problem threading it back on there. You know what I mean? Okay, so now I can hold that and just pull it off like that. Now see how it's going that way. And I can just take this, I can kind of push this over just a little bit, and you know, you can try to cut that off too, but then it starts zipping the whole thing off. Let's just see if I can do it. See, I don't want to pull too much of it off because then it's going to go ring around the rosy. Maybe I'll just take this and cut it off. You start pulling it and then everything starts getting out of whack. Okay, like that. Okay, that's going to go back in like that. And where this pop-up is, okay, you look underneath the sink and the outlet was going this direction. Usually they go into the back because the faucet is generally installed on the back, but I kind of like it how they did it on the side like that. And so I look underneath the sink and I see how that's going about at that angle right here. So I want this lined up that way, and I'm going to put it in. So you can put it in either way, you know. Let's see. You can put it in this way or this way. And I think I'm going to put it this way because sometimes if you're like that, maybe it's almost off, and if you go to try to tighten this, let's say that the top piece is loose or something. This one here, you can't unscrew this, okay? But on some you can. You try to unscrew it and then all of a sudden it pops off that. Do you know what I mean? If you have it that way. So I'm gonna flip it this way because I never want that to slide off. Okay. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna angle it down about like that, and I'm gonna get underneath there and fish this back in and see if I got it.